Hello and welcome back to Suspended Animation. I'm your host, Dennis Bithoulkas, and it's time for another episode of Spoiler Alert. Welcome, everybody. You know what? I'm going to tweak one little thing and just do that so that you can actually see a little bit better at the upper portion of that screen there. Let me take care of some business first, then we'll get down to it. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. Basically, YouTube takes the algorithms, all the stuff you've been watching, and tries to match it as best as possible. One of the videos in my vast feeder library and pops it up there just for you. And if you like what you see there, hit that subscribe button down below there. Also, if you want to know when I'll be on live again next, hit the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule. I change it out every week. I post it up there. I also have the links to all my social media, so Twitter, Instagram, Patreon. And I've got the links to this YouTube channel, my Facebook page, and a Facebook group page where you guys can post stuff and chat amongst yourselves. All right. So after yesterday's YouTube fail of notification, is what I'm guessing, because no one got the notification that I was on yesterday. I decided to do a little self-promotion on that one, even though I do it all the time on both Twitter and Facebook. Yeah, I didn't do it on Instagram, but still. There is a little community channel thing that's here on YouTube that you can actually post out stuff, and pretty much all your subscribers get a little bink when you send it out there. So that's what I did to kind of do that. So is it just me and one other person today? Is that what's going on? What are you guys watching out there? What do you want to talk about? I just saw that Cobra Kai got renewed for a 5th season at Netflix. This is before season 4 has come out. So yeah, we'll see how things go. I mean, the whole thing with Miguel, being, having his back shattered, I guess you could say, when he got thrown over that railing. We'll see what happens in season 4. See, spoiler alert. That's what happens here. You get spoiled by stuff. You come in here. No one wants to talk about anything spoilerish, huh? The one person who's here, other than me. No, you don't want to talk about Motherland's, Fort Salem, that season finale. What now? Stanley says. What do you guys want to talk about? I mean, that's what this is here for. This is for you guys. If you want to talk about, the latest Superman and Lois episode, or Stargirl, or whatever. That one you've seen Motherland Fort Salem or Superman and Lois. Which one was it? Whatever you guys want to talk about, man. That's what this is for. This is kind of open forum here. That's what this is. It was an experiment in a way, because people kept wanting to talk about, episodes and stuff like that during other stuff, and other episodes. They want to talk about, like, Superman and Lois during when we were talking about What If and things like that. Have you reviewed What If episode 3? Yeah, I have, Jody. I have done that. What's your next? Is it worth my time? Keith asks. That's going to be Remembrance. I was supposed to do Remembrance this last week here, and unfortunately, something better came along. It was The Witcher, Nightmare of the Wolf. So I'm actually doing Remembrance this week. Is what I'm doing. Superman and Lois season 1 finale. Yeah, that was actually pretty good. I did like that, especially with Steele's daughter showing up at the very end there. Yeah, Stanley. So the whole motivation, I talked about this in the review of the What If episode 3. It was dubious at best. He was like, you know what? You took my daughter, you made her an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., she died, so I'm going to kill every Avenger, an innocent person, beforehand. That's why I was like, what? Really? Why aren't you going after Fury himself, if that's the case, instead of killing all these innocent people who could help other people? And it just sounded Yeah, it was fairly dubious at best. I agree with you. Jody said, I need to get into the right headspace for this. I just finished doing a John Hughes mini marathon. Oh, got it. Yeah, so you need to dry all your tears and everything from the John Hughes mini marathon. I see how it is. Yeah. Um, yeah, like I said, that whole thing with Hank, and so I was saying that Hank was wearing the yellow jacket armor, and he had that crazed look in his eyes. So I was wondering if maybe he'd been affected, if this Hank Pym had not developed, found out that you go crazy when you go, shrink down and all that stuff. If he never discovered that, so I don't know. Hey, word 789. Yeah, Raymond, that's the whole thing. Yeah, that's why is Hank evil? That's a good question. They never really explained it about why he did it, other than his daughter is dead, and he started going after innocent people rather than Nick Fury, even though he was blaming Nick Fury for it. And I was like, so you're basically killing innocent people. Well, Natasha's not so innocent, but still, and neither is Clint. But still, I mean, it's like, man. Jody says, and a bit predictable. As soon as they mentioned nanites or something to that effect, I kind of figured out who it was. Well, as soon as I saw Michael Douglas's name in the credits, and I didn't see him in the first like 5 minutes, after Tony Stark dies, I was like, oh, it's Ant-Man or Hank Pym. Yeah. Stanley asked, "What did you think of the Superman finale? Did you like?" Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was good. They did a good job with this first season. It wasn't CW-fied as of yet. It wasn't Arrowverse either, where everyone's mopey and talking in hallways. But I'm pretty sure it's coming for the second season. They're probably going to get their budget cut, which would really suck considering that it's actually pretty good. Yeah. Word 789 says, it made no sense when Fury said there were more Avengers at the end. I thought he was getting Captain America. Yeah, he was getting Captain America. That's what he was on board the ship where Captain America was frozen. He actually wiped off the shield. We could see the shield, and Captain Marvel was right behind him. But there's also, I mean, you have Spider-Man, you have what else? Doctor Strange. I mean, all the people that we've seen already showing up. These are all the like backup Avengers, I guess you could say. Yeah. Why was Captain America not out of the ice by now? That didn't happen until later on, because it was going by the chronology of the MCU, and by Iron Man 2, Cap hadn't been out of the ice as of yet, which is where this fell into. With this Tony Stark had just had the fight with Rhodey, who had taken his armor and took off and flew away. That's why he was at the donut shop hungover. Yeah. Raymond Chaos says, yeah, they should keep the credits till after. As I heard, Chadwick Boseman is in 3 more episodes. Oh, okay. I didn't hear that. Word 789 says, yeah, but I like Loki. Fury mocking Hank. Yeah, Fury mocking Hank. The Loki version of Fury, yeah, mocking Hank was actually pretty good. That was a good bit. I did enjoy that too. But again, I mean, Hank wouldn't go and just kill some innocent people unless he was like really, really insane, which is that's all I can think of was he hadn't figured out that you go insane when you shrink down. So, are you still watching Stargirl? Yes, I am, Stanley. I am. And of course, they've really cut back on the special effects, except for the new Green Lantern that they brought in. So she's the only one that's actually they're dedicating all the special effects stuff to her right now. Because yeah, I mean, you're not seeing Stripe C in the armor, going out and doing anything. Stargirl's been minimal flying around, in the first episode. The second episode, not so much. Actually, not at all. Just glowing stuff. And then, of course, you had the Shade with his stuff going around. So Word 79 says, am I the only one who would have thought that Hulk's heart would have been like armored or something? So no, what he did is he actually went into the Hulk's ear and went to the pituitary gland and actually threw a disc at Hulk's pituitary gland, which made it overreact and blew him up from the inside out. That one I thought was actually kind of interesting. That was actually an interesting death. I mean, him going into the Hulk's ear and then just using the pituitary gland to make him explode. Because that's why he was getting all muscly and all that stuff, because the muscles were overexcited and everything, and then he just popped. So it wasn't his heart. Yes, the ballpoint pen genie. Yeah, Thunderbolt. That was interesting too. Yeah, they spent a little bit of money on that one. I'm wondering how long before they lose that money. Yeah. Raymond says, well, technically the Hulk should be invincible, but in the MCU, Hulk is nerfed. Yeah, he is, but I mean, this is something that has been talked about in the comics, in that Hank Pym could actually wipe out all the Avengers if they didn't know it was him that was coming, and that's what this is him doing exactly that. And Thor was mortal at this point because he still wasn't worthy to hold the hammer at that point. And he was, I remember in the movie, the first Thor movie, he does go into the base like he's invincible still, and he gets his ass handed to him eventually and captured because he's human at this point. He's mortal. And so having them take advantage of that with the Hawkeye thing, that was actually pretty good. He did have really good hair. Like exceptionally good hair. So that was fun bringing Coulson back and Clark Gregg to voice him. So you actually had him back in the MCU. Because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is not in the MCU. No. I'm sorry. But yeah, they pretty much retconned that one. That it's not in the MCU. Word 79 says, another thing I found strange was Loki taking over Earth in less than a day. Like, what the fuck? Where was Spider-Man? Strange guy. Yeah, well, that was the whole thing, is that they hadn't been assembled yet by Fury. But I don't think it was a day. I think it was more like a week that he went through and just did it. Yeah, there's all these little nitpicks aside, but it was still a good episode. Raymond says, do you think Nick Fury was the one who created these contingencies as Batman does for the JL? No. You mean how to kill off all the Avengers? I don't think so. No. Batman's just a paranoid motherfucker, and he ends up that's why I say, when people at work ask me, well, how do you think of all this stuff? And I'm like, WWBD, what would Batman do? And that you have contingencies upon contingencies upon contingencies of everything that's going to happen. So you're always backed up with whatever weird shit gets thrown your way. And that's what Tower of Babel was. Tower of Babel was Ra's al Ghul taking Batman's, contingency plans against the JLA and using them against them. That's what he did. He even has contingency plans against himself. That's how paranoid he is. Stanley said, I found Tom Hiddleston a little stilted as a voice actor. I don't know. I thought it was okay. Jody says, I'm not sure MCU Fury is particularly Batman-esque. No. It was definitely in a day. It goes from Thursday to Friday. Oh, okay. Was it a day? All right. I didn't know it was a day. I thought it was a week, but Raymond K. Hessel says we'll see evil Doctor Strange and What If it could connect to No Way Home. Huh? Possibly. We do know that now that the What If episodes are part of the MCU because of the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer. So yes, we do know that that is part of the MCU. It is part of canon, if you will. So this whole thing with, the animated stuff isn't part of canon, that's bullshit now. It's part of canon. As Fahey has said, everything that is going to be on Disney Plus series-wise is MCU canon from now on. He said that way back at the beginning of all of this. Jody says, yeah, they were going for something like a 7 type of approach with the week thing. Yeah. Yeah, Tower of Babel is a great story. It's a classic DC story. I mean, this whole thing, Spider-Man No Way Home, is going to be an amalgam of Brand New Day, which Straczynski did. I talked about that yesterday, but no one was here for that. What else is there? So the multiverse unraveling, and then there's something else too. I want to say there's a little bit of Clone Saga thrown in there too, just because there's going to be multiple versions of Spider-Man. So yeah, I think there's a little bit of everything that's in there. Stanley says the Spider-Man trailer, Doctor Strange, the little reckless. Is that an evil version? I don't know. I think he might have PTSD from everything that happened in Infinity War and, all of that. And so he's being reckless because he's like, well, if we don't do something about whatever, the worst case scenario can happen. So we might as well try, is what I'm thinking. That's what this Doctor Strange is doing. So Jody says, how exactly are they connecting these to the MCU? That means even the zombie episode? Yes. They're all part of multiple realities. So they are all part of the MCU. Word 789 says, yes, it was strange, pardon the pun, for Doctor Strange to mess about with reality so quickly like that for such a trivial thing. Well, I don't know if it's such a trivial thing. There's probably going to be something big that happens. I'm guessing Aunt May gets shot. I'm going to say that right now. I'm thinking that it's going to follow Brand New Day, and either Ned or Aunt May is going to get shot. You heard that here first. So, and that's what's going to bring Peter to basically pull the ultimate thing and go to Doctor Strange and go, I need this to fucking go away. Yeah. Word 79 says, apparently Brand New Day, Spider-Man, everyone knows his identity. Yes, 789. That was some people. There was a vocal, I would say it's split halfway, 50-50. Some people liked it, some people didn't. And that was because they being Marvel wanted to split up Mary Jane and Peter Parker, and this was the way to do it with Mephisto. So yeah, that was the whole thing. People were kind of pissed about it. I actually like the story, but hey, what do I know? Jody says, I'm wondering if they'll reveal it was really Mephisto all along. Maybe with a little song or something like that. It was Mephisto all along. Who knows? Or someone in disguise like Mephisto. Everyone's going to be going on the Mephisto thing. I don't know if it's Mephisto. I really don't. I don't think it's going to be. Although with all the ice and snow inside the Sanctum Sanctorum there, maybe hell has frozen over. Yeah, see? Maybe that's what it is. If not Mephisto, then evil Doctor Strange. It could be evil Doctor Strange. We don't know. Raymond says, nah, that won't happen, man. He was calm. Well, we saw him not really calm. He was overreacting about stuff. He could have already had some time to think about it, and this could have been like a day or two, and he was getting to Doctor Strange. He thought about it, about what he wanted to do. We don't know. We haven't seen the movie yet. So when it comes out, all will be revealed. So yeah. Or maybe Doctor Strange just can't pay his gas bills, or he just was trying a different, spell and it went wild. Does Doctor Strange 2 happen before the Spider-Man movie? Not that I know of. Although it could. Who knows? They are supposed to be releasing them in order, from what I understand. So, and Doctor Strange is supposed to be fighting Wanda and Doctor Strange 2, from what I understand. So, go figure. She's supposed to be, I guess, a villain in the second Doctor Strange movie. Jody says, and then later he interrupts the spell to add these extra conditions. So no, it wasn't the extra conditions. Peter walked into the spell. You see him literally, he's outside of the spell, and then he walks into the spell and he starts saying, well, what about, does that mean that Aunt May is going to forget about it? And he said, stop adding to the spell. And he goes, what about Ned? What about MJ? And as he keeps doing it, you see another line appear. And so every time he says something, another line appears. And that's when Doctor Strange is getting pissed at him and tells him to shut up. Yeah. Jody says, I think No Way Home sets up the whole multiverse thing. No, we already had the multiverse thing set up with Loki. It's already started. Everyone's talking about Spider-Man trailer and no one's talking about Shang-Chi. No, Marvel's not going to, it's not going to be a flop, Keith. It's a Marvel movie. Even their bad movies make a lot of money. As much as a lot of naysayers want, shit to fail, it's not going to. Since I still think WandaVision was the best D+ Marvel series. I liked Loki better. But then again, time travel. So there you go. Yes, Doctor Strange 2 is supposed to be quote unquote scary, is what they said. Raymond K.S. says, right. If he asks about Aunt May, she isn't dead. Well, that's what I'm saying. She could have survived. We're not saying that people died. I'm saying that someone could have gotten shot. Oh, you know what? We do see Happy actually in the target. He doesn't ask anything about Happy, and Happy is actually targeted by a whole bunch of different laser sightings. So maybe it's Happy that dies. It's Happy Hogan. Happy Hogan's the one that gets shot. There you go. I was just thinking about that. Which would actually make sense because, I mean, I don't think Jon Favreau wants to be acting anymore. I think he just wants to be behind the camera now, especially since he's super busy with all his Star Wars stuff. He's got like about 50 different Star Wars TV series going on right now. Jody says Shang-Chi, at worst, it'll be disappointment, but I don't know about out and out flop. It's not going to be a flop. I'm going to go and see that. I don't know if it's going to be in the theater. It depends. Yeah. Jody says, really, they're going to go full on horror with Doctor Strange 2. How horror will they go? Lovecraft level? No, it's Sam Raimi. So Sam Raimi can do horror and actually make it funny as well, kind of like Army of Darkness. So you can have horror that is not, out and out disgusting or anything like that. Army of Darkness is technically a horror movie, but it is honestly, it's not gory or anything. Yeah. Stanley says, with Delta, the theater box office will be much lower. That doesn't mean it's a flop, but we won't know the actual results exactly. Word 79 says, I don't like him as an actor, but I did like the little role he had in The Mandalorian. Yeah. Raymond says, that's it. You're right about Happy Hogan being the one that gets shot and killed. Yeah, I'm fairly sure now that that's it. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun kind of horror movie, Jody. That's why Sam Raimi's been brought in. Sam Raimi is the master at that. Even Drag Me to Hell. Drag Me to Hell has a few like, you know, weird, horror, horrific things, I guess you could say in it. But the majority of it is not like, oh my God, but it's a horror movie. And again, that's Sam Raimi. Raymond says, "Are you jumping on the McGuire Garfield train? Will they be in it?" Yes, they're in it. So we saw the villains that we saw in the trailer that we were alluded to anyway. Of course, Dr. Octopus makes a physical appearance in it. Green Goblin, we see the Goblin Bomb show up, and we see Sandman in the background for a brief, like, I think, second and a half, maybe if that, with it, him popping up, and it looked like an arm coming out the side by the freeway. So if those are there, we know that Jamie Foxx is already in it, that he's been in it. So that is that's Andrew Garfield's. So we got the McGuire villains, and then we also have the Garfield villains. So there you go. Yeah. And also Tom Holland is running at one point in the black Spider-Man suit, and it's the black Spider-Man suit that McGuire was wearing in Spider-Man 3. So obviously he got that from someone, you know? Yeah. At first, I thought it might have been McGuire, and I actually froze frame it, and then I saw it was Holland running. Although it wouldn't be beyond Marvel and Sony and all that stuff to actually change out. They could have filmed 2 scenes, and it could actually be McGuire that, and they just did that for the trailer just to show us that it was Holland instead. Keith says Stanley H. They're not releasing D plus, so they won't have an excuse like they do with Black Widow. Yeah, they're going to release it 45 days after the theatrical release on Disney Plus. They're going to do the HBO Max version of what HBO Max is doing. They're going to try that. Oh yeah, I'm really psyched to see what Raimi's going to do with Doctor Strange 2, Jody. Yeah, we heard Defoe's goblin laugh. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Word 79 says this is a chance to redeem Jamie Foxx's Electro design. Yeah, maybe. Stanley says, imagine McGuire in a tight Spider-Man suit. I assume a lot of CGI will be needed, or is he actually still in shape? Do they hire people to put these guys back in shape again? It's not that big of a deal. And you got to remember, all this stuff that comes that we find as news now has already been done like a year, maybe 2 years ago. Jody says, I think we also saw the lizard caged at a blink and you missed it moment in the trailer. Really? I didn't see that, but I don't know. We also see something. Okay, that's what Raymond says too. Okay, possibly. Words. Jody says he heard that Electro's design has been redesigned. Electro's look has been redesigned. Mm-hmm. Jody says, yeah, Dennis, I think they probably even CGI'd them out in the trailer in addition to swapping them out. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Raymond says, oh, no, it's a Doctor Strange Spider-Man suit. Yeah, well, we already know the Doctor Strange Spider-Man suit is coming out because Funko ruined that one. Yeah, we've seen that one. I do like the Goblin grenades. I think, yeah, that's right. There was a local comic book store, someone I used to work with, in these YouTube-ish things, who actually had one of the screen versions, one of the screen Goblin bombs, had bought one of those. They're actually really cool close up. Jody says they'll probably be using de-aging tech to make them look like they did in the previous movie. They're definitely using it on Molina, Alfred Molina, because I don't know if you've seen him, but he's pretty heavy and he's pretty old looking. So when we saw him at the end of that trailer, he looked really skinny and he looked really young. So I'm sure they used the de-aging tech on him. Well, we have alternative girlfriends too in the new Spider-Man. I heard that what's her name, Kristen Dunst, is supposed to be in it as well. I've heard that she's in it. I don't know anything about Emma Stone. I don't think Emma Stone's going to be in it because, of course, her character is dead. Word 79 says, I also bet when Doc says hello, Peter, it's to Tobey Maguire. Yeah. Because he doesn't know who the fuck Tom Holland is. He wouldn't know that he's Peter. Unless he sees him in the Spider-Man costume and he just assumes that it's Peter. Jody says, now that's the question. Dunstan Stone, will they return? Also, will we get to see Spider-Gwen? I highly doubt that. I can't believe he was in Boogie Nights. Who? Alfred Molina? Oh, Alfred Molina. Yeah. Jody says, oh my God, Mary Jane is back. That'll be awesome. Yeah, she's actually, Kristen Dunst has been doing a whole bunch of like indie stuff. And then also she's been doing her Showtime show, which I think just got canceled. But yeah, so she's been acting, but she's been doing a lot more artistic, pieces, not these big bombastic spectacles or anything like that. So, yeah. Raymond says, oh, yeah, so all the Spider-Man are fighting to live multiple lives. That's what Doctor Strange said, and it makes sense. That's why they fight. Yeah. Jody says, Dennis, unless they pull a quantum leap thing and have the various other dimensional characters see Holland as their perspective Peters, I don't think so. So we know that we've already got that. So Loki already set the precedent that you can have different versions of Loki. They look different. I mean, you saw Richard E. Grant as classic Loki. He looked completely different than Tom Hiddleston. Kid Loki looked different than Tom Hiddleston. Of course, boastful Loki looked different than Tom Hiddleston. And then, of course, you had presidential Loki, who looked exactly like Tom Hiddleston. And then also you had Sophia, who was Lady Loki, who looked different than Tom Hiddleston, obviously. So, yes, you can have them look different and yet still have the same powers. The Apple Crow. Apple Crow says, I would like to say it would be interesting to have the writers from the other films return to help with those scenes, but that would mean Kurtzman, so probably not. I hope not. I would rather they stay out of it. Yeah. Apple Crow says, wait, it's not a multiverse. It's just a conspiracy of casting directors. It could be. It's just a conspiracy of agents. The agents that want their clients to make money so they can make more money. That's what it is. Kurtzman can burn in hell. Yeah, I said it. Along with Zack Snyder. I'm sorry. Oh, and I just want to say R.I.P. Ed Asner. Ed Asner passed away today at 91. So, and it's kind of sad actually, because he did a interview with the Hollywood Reporter recently, looking back over his career, and it was kind of one of those things that looked like he was saying goodbye. It was I read part of it, and that's why I stopped reading it, because it was getting depressing. And then of course he passed away today, which is really shitty, but still. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. does not exist in the MCU, Apple Crow. When does the next Dark Universe movie come out? Probably never. It's through Universal. Isn't Universal due to get bought out by somebody now? What if this is all just a Mysterio? So Mysterio is not dead, Raymond. Mysterio faked his own death because they don't have a body. Yeah. Unless he grabbed a multiverse body, and I could have done that. Applecross, I'm sorry for mentioning the showrunner who should not be hired. You mean Akiva Goldsman? Oh, no, wait. Alex Kurtzman? You mean Chibnall? There's a whole bunch of showrunners who should never be hired again and should never be considered for writing duties ever again. There are a lot of them out there. Looking at you, Damon Lindelof. And Zack Snyder. Yeah. So, yeah, there's a lot to unpack in that trailer. And there's a lot of rumors, of course, floating around out there and whatnot. So, who knows what this movie's going to... this movie is going to be big, though. I mean, it's already gotten a shit ton of views just for the trailer. So you know that there's going to be a lot of people that are... I want to say there's going to be people that are going to brave the theaters to go and see this. I don't know if I'm going to be one of them. It's going to be December. We'll see what things look like in December. I mean, it could be a total shit show by December. We could be living, Mad Max kind of times. At the way things are going anyway. I mean, yeah. So, Keith Hamilton says, Scott Buck, he did awesome with Dexter and Iron Fist. Iron Fist was not his baby. That was, fuck, now I'm blanking on his face. I can see Jeff Loeb. That was Jeff Loeb's baby. And I completely blame Jeff Loeb for everything wrong with the previous MCU, the TV stuff. I mean, he was also the thing that was wrong with Heroes. He came in, I believe, second season of Heroes and fucked that all up to hell. Jeff Loeb is one of those people that needs to stay the fuck away from TV. He's a great writer for comics, but he sucks as a producer for TV. Raymond says, isn't it crazy Eastwood is still making, directing and starring in movies? Kind of. But I mean, that's what he's doing. I find it, I mean, Gene Hackman actually retired, 10 years ago? Somewhere around there. And I just saw a picture of him recently, and I was like, holy fuck. I mean, I know he's in his 90s, but he looks like he's in his 90s now. Stanley says, Dennis, will you watch Shang-Chi later on D Plus then? Probably. Yeah. I don't have a problem paying the $20 or $30 or whatever it is to watch it on my TV. I've already watched Black Widow a couple of times. So there you go. And I've also watched Suicide Squad a couple of times, even though they don't charge extra for it. I only watched the Don Cheadle movie that came out recently on HBO Max. Fucking blanking on it. No Sudden Move, which is really good, by the way. I only watched it once. Excuse me. But it will be 45 days later. Yeah, I don't care. I don't care if it's 45 days later. It's better than me being in the ICU and possibly dying. So there we go. I don't trust a minimum wage person to be cleaning out that theater, nor do I trust Joe motherfucker who's coming into the theater to say, "Oh yeah, I don't have COVID," and coughing all over everything. Sorry, just not. I am very distrustful of the human race right now. So, are we not allowed to spoil it for you if we see it? I probably won't will read your comment, that's for sure. So what I do is when I'm looking at comments, I kind of scan over it, and if I see something that might be spoilerish, I don't read through it entirely. So that's just the way my brain works. I can pick out some things. Yeah, vaccine doesn't mean you can't get it, Stanley. I mean, vaccine just means that you know, it'll lessen the symptoms. That's all it is. So, and yes, I'm in line to, of course, get my third booster whenever the hell they do that. But we're neither here nor there talking about that. We're talking about spoilers, is what we're talking about. And yeah, so they're gonna have to do something. I'm pretty sure what's gonna end up happening. They're not gonna go that full 45 days. They're not gonna after the first week, and you see the steady drop off, which every movie's been doing. You have a first week where you have a lot of money, and then it goes into the crapper. They will rescind that fairly quickly and go, guess what? It's going to be on D plus next week for $30. So you can play devil's advocate all you want, Stanley. I'm not doing it. Raymond says, "Do you think that Wong will was going to Shang-Chi in the I don't think so. Why would he just because he's Asian? I think he was going on vacation, is what was happening. He was probably like, fuck this noise. There's too much snow. I'm going someplace where it's warm. Stanley says, I saw the Witcher movie. It was quite good. I did too. And I actually did Is It Worth My Time about it? Like the Queen of Soul movie. Oh, what about like the Queen of Soul movie, Joe? I don't know what you're talking about there. Is that what happened? Was it went out for like a week and then dropped and then they put it out on, you know, VOD? Wong is supposed to appear in Shang-Chi. Oh, the drop in sales for Queen of Soul. Yeah. Every movie has done it. I mean, look, Candyman is number one right now in the theaters. What was the movie that came out last week? Free Guy. Free Guy dropped to number two, like significantly dropped to number two. And I'm waiting until HBO Max decides to go, oh, guess what? It's going to be on HBO Max now. That's Wong's thing, leaving when you need him the most, like Infinity. He didn't leave, did he, in Infinity War? I don't remember. It's been a while since I've watched it. I know, Raymond. I was giving you shit about it. Stanley says, I did not watch your video because I hadn't seen the Witcher movie. Oh, okay. Fair enough. I did do a spoiler-free version at the beginning of it, and then the spoiler version afterwards. I did like it a lot. They did a good job of it. I actually want to see Vesemir in more. I would rather see I mean, now that Castlevania is going to be doing spin-offs, you know, now that Warren Ellis is no longer writing for anybody at this point, I would like to see them take Vesemir and do a whole series on him raising these four kids. Quite honestly, these four Witcher kids. That would be something I would watch as a series on Netflix, animated. Yeah, that would be kind of cool. That way it fills in the gaps in between, you know, Witcher season 2 and 3, which are going to take fucking forever. If, how season 2 is coming about. Hey, Filthy. The Commander's Corner. That's right. I remember you changed out your website there. Your channel, I should say. Word 789 says Wong leaving literally became a meme in an Infinity War. Like, where has Wong got to go during the end of the world? No one sees him also after he takes a teleport because he says he's got to go. Okay. Raymond says, yeah, the horror of the Witcher universe works better in it. Yeah, it does. You can actually do a lot more with it. Stanley says, young Geralt training as a Witcher was shown a little in the Polish TV series. Oh. I have never seen the Polish TV series. We don't get that kind of stuff all the time over here, Stanley. It's only few and far in between, or if you really delve into the interwebs to go and find stuff, where we find stuff like that, or even hear of it, quite honestly, over here. It's fairly, it's a fairly closed system, shall we say. That's how I like to call it. That's why it's surprising when you hear something and the rest of the world's like, yeah, we talked about that like 5 years ago, man. Where have you guys been? We're talking about lots of different stuff. Filthy. I don't know what to call you now. The Commander, Filthy. What do you want me to call you? I'm going to call you Corner. How about that? I'm going to call you Corner from now on. Stanley says, but the overall production quality of the Polish series was not that great. Well, that sucks. I'm not going to remember that, man. I'm sorry. I'm looking at names is what I'm looking at when I'm yeah, those are niche communities, is what Raymond says. Are you talking about the Polish series, or are you talking about Magic? I don't understand which one you're talking about, Raymond. That's what happens when we start talking over about different things. I mean, I'm actually a master at that myself, of going off tangent and then coming back around again and coming back to what I originally was talking about, even though I've talked about all these other different things and coming back around. But I get lost sometimes myself. Trying to think what else I've been watching. I did watch something on Netflix, which is interesting, called The Liberator. And it was about World War II. And I can't remember the name of the company that basically went from Italy into Germany. And they're the ones that found Dachau, the concentration camp, of course. And the way they had filmed it on Netflix was they had actors that were acting, but then they did animation over them, and then they cut it into weird timing frames, so it was kind of stilted a bit. It takes a little bit of getting used to it first, but it's actually a good series. I finished that one out. It's I think only 6 episodes. I want to say it's 6 episodes, 5 or 6 episodes, somewhere around there. Yeah, notifications didn't go out yesterday, so I actually just put it. There's a community link that you can actually send out word to everybody. Have you seen the Star Wars anime trailer? I have. I'm actually going to be covering that Star Wars anime as well, since it drops once a week. I believe it was rotoscoped, Stanley. Yeah, but they did something weird to the timing on it, so it is. It's really weird. It's stilted when you see it. It looks like it's only done in 15 frames per second is what they've done. And then they did this weird thing too, where they put a filter over the front of it. So it looks like it's a filthy lens that it's looking through. That was the other thing too, or a damaged lens of some kind. That was the one thing that kind of pissed me off every now and then is you get that damaged lens look. And I'm like, can you guys just knock it off and just do the rotoscope version? It's fine. Okay, Raymond, you're agreeing that we Americans are fairly ignorant of international media. Yeah, we are. We're completely ignorant of a lot of international media. That's why, like I said, something comes up and we're like, hey, this is actually pretty good. And the rest of the world's like, yeah, we saw that 5 years ago. Where are you guys at? Or, my favorite is when the Hollywood basically gets wind of it and they're like, hey, we're going to do an American remake of it. And the American remake just pales usually in comparison to whatever the original was. They fuck it up completely, add some really stupid shit to it. And yeah. And then everyone goes, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. People here in the United States who've never seen the original, like The Departed. Yeah. Word today says, I can't wait to see the Star Wars anime. I'm looking especially for the episode with Chibi Boba Fett. Yeah. Filthy is good. See ya, man. Have a good one. Liberating Dashow. That sounds like funner. So they don't hit Dashow until the very end of it, and it's only there for. Essentially, it's about this group of. So the regiment that they're in, I want to say it's the 571st. I can't remember offhand. Is made up of a bunch of people from the Southwest. So you have some white people, of course. You also have some Native Americans. You have some Mexican people of Latino descent. And yeah, so you have that mix. So, of course, in the 40s, being as racially segregated as it was down in the South at that point in time, it was kind of an unusual mix of people, and they all worked together. And that was what the thing was that was different about that regiment. So that's kind of what it was about too. Word 79 says Black Mirror is a perfect example. Was a show in the UK years ago and just recently became a big in the US after the Netflix fun. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Apple Chris's Point of No Return is a shot-for-shot remake of La Femme Nikita. Yeah, exactly. That Point of No Return is just a shit movie. I mean, it really is. Even though I like Bridget Fonda, Point of No Return was just a shit movie. La Femme Nikita is so much better. Yeah, I agree with you, Apple Crow. I agree, but I mean, Luc Besson made some money off of that. He was able to finance a couple of movies because of that that licensing. The less said about the American version of Red Dwarf, the better. Yeah. Yeah, that's the whole thing. I mean, even Friends, that TV show Friends, was a ripoff of a British sitcom. I can't remember which one it was now. Even though they said, oh, we just based it on our lives at the time of all the people we knew in New York. It's like bullshit. You watched a British sitcom and you ripped it off. We already know this. Stanley says, speaking of American remakes, we need an American Doctor Who. Well, you might get that if J. Michael Straczynski ends up becoming the showrunner for Doctor Who, which it looks it might be happening. So finally, you get some decent, fucking sci-fi stories out of that thing. I mean, jeez, what's that series been running now? Like 5 years, something like that. Yeah, I'm gonna get a whole bunch of hate mail from all the Doctor Who people who don't know what I'm just joking. Raymond says, you know what's funny? Mexican TV is all remakes of American television. Yeah, well, everyone copies off everyone else. There's a great Fuck, it was a comedy that Channing Tatum did, and I want to say it was on Amazon. It's on Amazon Prime, called Comrade Detective or Detective Comrade, something like that. Where I want to say that's what it is, and he essentially, Channing Tatum plays himself in it, and what they're saying is that there was a Czechoslovakian detective show that was set in the 80s that was really big in Czechoslovakia, but the West had never seen it until the Iron Curtain came down. And there had been rumors about it. There had been videotapes smuggled into the West and all this stuff, and it was popular among a small group of people and all this stuff. And they showed it for the first time, dubbed over into English, and it's the most fucking hilarious thing you will ever see, because obviously it's not a real TV series that was shot in the 80s. It's something that they filmed to make it look like it was shot in the 80s, and then dubbed over in English, really bad English, Channing Tatum being one of the voices for it, and I believe Jonah Hill is one of the voices for it. I can't remember who else, but it is one of the most fucking hilarious things you'll ever see. This was when Amazon was just kind of experimenting and trying to do some weird shit along the lines of John Claude Van Johnson, which was awesome, just brilliant and ahead of its time. So if you can find it, I suggest watching it. It's hilarious. I might actually have to go back and rewatch some of that stuff. As a matter of fact, I'm going to look it up because I want to say it's Detective Comrade or Comrade Detective. I'm going to look up Channing Tatum, actually. And once I get past a couple of different Magic Mike remake movies where he's doing. And it's taking forever to load, of course, because that's the way it is. And that is the way it was. Okay, so while we're waiting for that to load and load. Okay, here we go. Yeah, it was called Comrade Detective. That was what it was called. Comrade Detective. Yeah. Hey, Celebro. Hilarious show. But yeah. Did you ever do a version of Perfect Strangers? That was such a classic from back in the day. Oh my God. Perfect Strangers. I think they want to do another version of that or something like that. I don't know. But anyway. All right. Well, it looks like things are going to be winding down here a little bit. So I'm going to go into what's coming up next. In Cap's voice, I'll add it to the list. Exactly. What else is coming out this week? What am I doing this week, I should say? Tomorrow I'll be off. Tuesday will be another episode of Is It Worth My Time? And this time around, it'll be Reminiscence from HBO Max and also from theaters. Wednesday will be What If? Thursday will be Morks's favorite show, Titans. Morks isn't here for that, unfortunately. Friday, I'll be off. And then Saturday will be Saturday Morning Blast Off, where I take the genre news of the week and any other genre stuff you guys don't want to be there for to talk about. And we'll talk, and I'll talk to myself about it. And then, of course, we come back around again to Sunday to Spoiler Alert. Yeah. Keith Hamilton says the Russian and Brazilian version of Married with Children were super popular in those countries. Mm-hmm. Jody says, Dennis, I trust your recommendations implicitly. You were the one who told me about John Claude Van Johnson. That was brilliant. Yeah, that was hilarious. I actually went back and rewatched it again recently. Yeah, I mean, it's actually really good. I mean, they did a great job of that. And that how it never got picked up, I don't understand. And John Claude Van Damme he was trying to recapture that a little bit. He did a Netflix series called or Netflix movie that he just did recently called God, I forget something about the Mercenary. I think it's the Mercenary is what it's called, and it's a comedy, and it's really bad. I mean, it's just really, really fucking bad. But it was supposed to be kind of like, Jean-Claude Van Johnson in a way, and it just failed miserably, unfortunately. Stanley says, I wouldn't trust Dennis, but JCVJ is great. Thanks, Stanley, for that vote of confidence. If you can check it out, old 80s sitcom. It's essentially the Town Mouse and Country Mouse. Oh, okay. Yeah, there's a lot of those. The Town Mouse and the Country Mouse thing. Yeah, my sense of humor, I'll admit, is a bit on the warp side. You know, there's stuff that I find funny that a lot of people don't, and vice versa. Yeah, I mean, like MODOK, that MODOK animated series is not funny whatsoever. I mean, it's shit. Yeah, Stanley says the man. That my taste is suspect sometimes. Raymond says, every time I think about leaving Netflix, they pull me back in. They have a lot of misses. Yeah, they do have a lot of misses. They really do. But they pump a lot of shit out. I mean, they pump a lot of shit out. You would almost think that they were in the shit pumping business. That's how much shit they pump out. But yeah. But every now and then, buried in that all that shit is just a little nugget of a little gem that you got to wash off and bleach, get your tetanus shots and all those other, Hep A and Hep B shots as well, just to make sure that you're completely okay after digging it out of that shit. And it's actually, the little gem is pretty good there. Hey, you are late, Sasha. I'm actually getting ready to leave. I've been on for over an hour now. Stanley says, I hardly watch Netflix anymore, but I keep the account for my extended family. I put it on and then I take a look to see what's in the new stuff, and I notice there's no new stuff. And I've been finding I've been watching a lot more the pseudo documentaries, if you will. What was the last thing I watched? Was like the Fall of Rome, or not the Fall of Rome. It was Roman emperors, is what it was. And so they had done this kind of, they had brought in people to kind of tell the story, but then they also dramatized it as well. And it was interesting. It's kind of like watching the History Channel without having to deal with all the History Channel's commercials for Oak Island. Yeah. Yeah. Apple Crow says, you can tell I'm hilarious because Dennis never laughs. That's because you haven't workshopped a lot of your stuff, Apple Crow. I'm sure if you polished it for a couple of years, it would be some really good stuff. Yeah. All right. Well, Sasha, we could talk later. I'm going to let everyone go for the night or day, or depending on where you're at. Thank you to everybody who joined me today in the chat, and thank you if you made it this far in the video. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here, and if you like what you see there, hit that subscribe button down below there. And if you can, hit that like button, the share button as well. And if you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next, so YouTube cannot notify you when I come on, you can hit that bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you or not, depending on how it is. If you don't want to deal with that, you can always go, if I can actually speak, you can always go over to suspendedfanimation.com, take a look at the schedule I have up there. I change it every week. Also, I have all the links to my social media and all my pages up there as well. All right. Thank you, everybody. I will see you again on Tuesday for Is It Worth My Time? Until then, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may wind up in a bad 80s sitcom that's been remade by 13 different countries, and you're in the Romanian version of it, which isn't going to be very good because it's actually based off of the Esperanto version, which you really don't want to watch. Thanks, everybody. I will see you again on Tuesday. Until then, stay safe, be well, take care, wear those masks, get those vaccine shots, and stay safe out there. Thanks, everybody. I will talk to you later and see you on Tuesday. Bye.